Vikings, your votes matter. Ganesha and Gary are coming together for a 2020 Battle of the G's voter registration edition. Did you know you could pre-register to vote as young as 16 years old? If you are 16 or older, please visit the website on the screen, submit a screenshot to our DMs at GaryHighASB or tag us. If you do not have Instagram, check Google Classroom for a Google form to submit your screenshot. Be sure to ask your English teacher and history teacher if they are offering extra credit. Happy voting.
Hi Vikings! Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th through October 15th, and we will be taking the next few weeks to educate our school about important topics concerning Hispanic culture.
Hispanic was a term created in the 1970s by the federal U.S. Unions to identify a single Spanish-speaking ethnic heritage. Purpose was to create political and financial power and representation. But the term eliminated a lot of identity unique to each individual ethnic origin. There's not one type of Hispanic. Hispanic also means of Spanish descent of speaking, but not all of the 33 countries identify. For example, Brazil is a Portuguese speaking. Latindad was created a new way to acknowledge Latin American countries by taking away the European colonizing term. But it still narrows the perceived identity of one type of Latino that ignores Afro and Indigenous roots.
And next up is identity, or what's in a name. We have three terms that we're going to cover, which is race, ethnicity, and nationality. Race means physical characteristics that define a person as being a member of a specific group. And some of the examples of that would be your skin color, your hair color and your texture, eye color, facial features, and maybe your physical build as well. Next up is ethnicity. Cultural characteristics that define a person as being a member of a specific group. The difference with race is that this time it's cultural. And some examples of that would be your language, your accent, religion, how you dress, hairstyle, social customs, food and dietary restrictions, or just like preferences in food in general. And last up, we have nationality, which is the legal sense of belonging to a specific political nation state. And an example of that would be your citizenship, whether it's your birthright or you were naturalized.
Hi, let's review some terms. Hispanic describes cultures or countries that were once under Spanish rule with Spanish-speaking roots. Controversy over erasure of indigenous roots of each individual culture. Not a race, but ethnic and language descriptor. Tejano, Spanish for Texan, are cultural descendants from Spanish-speaking settlers to northern Mexican states. Once New Spain, before Mexico, and becoming America. Now Texas Mexican Americans. Indigenous acknowledges the Native American roots of Latin American countries. Mestizo was used to identify mixed Spanish-speaking and indigenous descent historically. With so many indigenous nations within countries, it's becoming a way to unite and identify roots. Chicano has its roots in Mexican national identity and was once a negative term that has been reclaimed to express pride in a shared cultural, ethnic, and community identity during the 1960s Chicano movement.
The term Latino, Latina, or Latinx is used for anyone of the Latin American origin or ancestry, and is used for any race or any color, and it's a more cultural descriptor. The X in Latinx is a more general neutral term to create more inclusivity. That is a recent term used to eliminate the colonizer, Spanish, and Portuguese connotation, and it has controversy over exclusion of Afro and Indigenous people, and is used for representation and imagery.
It's important to keep in mind that being culturally literate is not the same thing as being culturally sensitive. When in doubt, ask, because individually, people from all walks of life may identify or want to be identified in a way contrary to mainstream labels.
Yo Vikings, what's up? It's Miss Devon, certified young person. I was chatting on my iPhone with Superintendent Richard Martinez, and he was popping off about how Gen Zers should wear masks. Apparently, a lot of the COVID is spread by us Gen Zers. No cap. So he asked, yo Debs, what are you gonna do about it? Aren't you 18? And I did not correct him. So fam, let's real talk. Masks are totally lit. Type that in your DMs and Twitch it.
Vibe check. Yes, queens like us want to go to the beach, parties, kickbacks, and do our silly little TikToks. I get it, bae.
I'm not going to sit here and preach to you like some teacher. Ugh. This is a conversation where I talk and you put on your mask. Hello.
Hey, Miss Vaughn, it's Beyonce.
Beyonce, is that you?
I'm wearing my mask.
You're wearing a mask?
Yeah, it's actually really easy. Okay, see you later.
Man, I want to stan you. You're totally my bae. Give me a beat. My name is Debbie and I'm wearing a mask. That's all I ask. Please wear a mask. It's not that hard. It's actually very simple. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying and it is preventable. Wear your mask. I want to have prom. I want to have graduation. Put your masks on.
Hi Vikings! This week we're going to talk about something that can contribute majorly to your health, social media. Let's talk about the ways social media can negatively affect your mental health and then think of ways we can take control over those aspects and remain positive. Social media is linked to high levels of anxiety and depression. The average high schooler spends at least 3 hours on social media. That's more time than we spend drinking water and eating something we're supposed to survive. 79% of Americans have some sort of social media account that's higher than the 58% of eligible voters who turned out to vote in the 2016 election.
First, people use social media as a place to display their highlight reel where they share all the best things that happen in their lives. As an outsider looking in, we start to compare our daily life to others' highlight reels.
The second part that contributes to a decline of mental health and social media is the social currency that likes and views create. We start to think that if a picture doesn't get enough likes, it doesn't have value. And sometimes we even delete pictures that don't get enough likes.
Third, social media creates the feeling of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. In the times before COVID, if you were home on a Friday night and seeing everyone out and gathering, it's a natural reaction to feel left out. And now, in the time where social media is one of the only safe ways to keep in touch, most people won't deactivate their social media accounts for the fear of being out of the loop. And finally, online harassment, which is a huge issue that we can get back into later. Well, we've all been there, whether we received a comment that just doesn't sit right, or unfortunately, some harassment is blatant and harmful addiction.
Cut back on the amount of time you spend on social media. Think about social media like a diet where you're monitoring what you consume based on if it's good for you and, of course, how much you take of it. Diets are always hard at the beginning, but once you get used to it, you will feel much better.
Continuing with this, you can control what content you see if you find that certain people from school, influencers, or even friends that post things that cause you to feel anything negative, simply unfollow them or mute them. Fill your feed with content that uplifts you, informs you, and makes you happy.
Finally, model good behavior and be the person to always comment something nice and encouraging. Try sharing imperfect moments and have the courage to be real. Being positive all the time isn't easy, but you are not alone, Vikings. Happy posting.